Welcome to the Teacher's Compass podcast. I'm your host, Louise Schwartz, a former teacher turned life coach, and I'm here to offer guidance, direction and practical support for teachers and teaching assistants who are feeling overwhelmed or questioning their place in education. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Teacher's Compass podcast. Today we are talking about transferable skills. As a teacher, I know a lot of colleagues, friends that say to me, I don't know what else I'd do. I can't do anything else. I'm just a teacher. Well, just a teacher actually equates to a whole host of skills, maybe some that you haven't even realised that you've got and that you do every single day in your job. But these skills are ones that if you are thinking of moving out of teaching, then these skills are the things that you can use to your advantage in order to progress into a different industry and a different career role. So I want you to have a think about all the different skills that you've got as a teacher that you can use if you want to step out of the classroom. Now, this list is not exhaustive. This is just the things that I could think of that you possess and you could use moving forward if you choose to. So here are my list. I've written them down so I don't forget them. But my first thing is communication. The very obvious thing as a teacher is that you are amazing at communicating. You can speak to people clearly, concisely. You can explain things. You can think of lots and lots of different ways to explain the same thing. We do this naturally in the classroom. You think about a subject that you're teaching. I don't know, let's pick maths. I was never very good at teaching maths, to be honest with you. I would always stick to music every day of the week. But if you're teaching maths and say you're looking at division, you don't just teach the children one way to do division. You teach them a couple of different ways, a couple of different methods, so that they can use the best one for them. So think about those communication skills that you're using in order to explain those different methods and to have it so clear for the children that they understand exactly what you're talking about. So your communication skills, I would say, are probably the biggest skill that you've got as a teacher that is needed in so many different job roles. Probably, I'd say 90% of jobs are going to want people that can communicate with customers, can communicate with team members, can communicate with anybody at any point in the day, depending on the role that you're doing. So that's a massive one, communication. Right, organisation. Now, some teachers are more organised than others. We can go into a classroom, can't we? And we can look at the classroom and think, wow, this teacher's got it all set up. They've got it sorted. They know exactly what they're doing. All their drawers are labelled. It's all beautiful. They've got everything in its place. But even those teachers that might say, well, I'm not organised, you are. You've got to be. As a teacher, you have to be organised in order to do your day. There has got to be some form of forward planning. You've got to have thought about what you're doing for that day and have it ready and set up in order for your day to run smoothly. So some teachers will be better organised than others. However, every teacher has got a really good level of organisation. So whether that's organising paperwork, organising books, organising displays, or organising your time. So time management is a really important skill to have in a lot of job roles, particularly if you're expected to work kind of on your own, getting projects done and then sort of sending them into a manager. You need to be able to organise your time in order to get everything done that needs to be done for that particular project. So time management, as well as organisation, is obviously a really key skill that I would say, again, most teachers have got. You might not think that your time management is very good. To be honest, I was always the person doing singing assembly and I was always the last one in. So all the classes would be in singing assembly, they'd all be sat beautifully waiting, and as the person leading singing assembly, I would always be the last person there. However, it was only, a minute or two. I wasn't ever, 2 hours late for anything. So although my time management isn't amazing, a lot of my friends would say I'm always late for everything. I'm not that late, and I can manage my time to get to somewhere on time if I need to be. So time management is definitely something that you could add to a CV. You could look at for, as a skill that you could offer amongst all those other things. So organisation, time management, I'd say most of you could nail that. Yeah. Problem solving. What about problem solving? My new job role, working for a software company, most of my day is spent problem solving. So customers come to me, I can't make this work, this isn't doing this, I can't make this work here, and I set about finding the solution for those problems. I love that. To me, that's really kind of satisfying to solve those problems. There's other job roles that use a similar system of solving problems. Can you be brought in to have a look at the way things are running in a company? And can you offer some solutions on how things could be done more efficiently? I would say a lot of teachers are very efficient and could look at the systems and processes within a company and kind of tweak them so that they are more efficient. Yeah, definitely. So problem solving is a huge part of what we do every day, not just problem solving things that occur in the classroom, but think about on the playground, friendship issues, again, that communication skill coming back in as well, discussing things with people if there's been problems that arise that you don't ever expect to. So as a music teacher, I quite often would go into school and they'd go, oh, you can't teach in that room today, but you're teaching in there instead. Okay, so then you set about the solution of moving instruments, moving equipment, things that need to be changed. So those skills of problem solving also kind of spill into adaptability as well, don't they? Being able to just think off the cuff, oh, crikey, I haven't got the resources for that lesson, or the IT's failed, what are we going to do instead? So having the ability to just switch and quickly think of a different solution, that instead of going with whatever it was that you'd got planned, actually we're going to do this instead. So being able to adapt and solve problems as they arise is definitely a key skill that most teachers, again, I would say, do on a daily basis. If you've ever led a team as part of your teaching role, whether that's Key Stage Lead or Subject Lead or SLT, those team skills and leadership skills can be very valuable in lots of different industries. I was a subject leader, but I was leading on my own, so I just led myself. But there are lots of teachers that work with teams. I used to have a team, actually, thinking about it. We had Peri teachers that would come into school and teach different instruments and teach different subject content for music, different classroom lessons. And those Peri teachers had to have their timetables organised. We had to have the right children going into the classrooms to have those lessons with those Peri teachers with the right equipment. And so all of that was the leadership role that you would expect from a subject leader. But think about all the other things that you lead and that you work with in teams. If you're a sports coordinator, do you organise external sporting events? Do you do matches with different schools? Do you then organise the transport? Do you communicate with those other schools on timings and days and venues? All of those communication skills with other people outside of your school, they all fall into that leadership and team management, working with other teachers. Now, something a lot of teachers have got much better at since COVID is technology. So I think when COVID first hit and we were told, right, you're going to be working from home and doing Zoom lessons or lessons on Teams, a lot of teachers sort of thought, oh gosh, how on earth am I going to do that? But we kind of fumbled our way through, didn't we? I ended up setting up a YouTube channel and doing live singing assemblies during COVID. That was something I didn't have a clue about until I was put in that position and had to kind of force myself to learn. But those technology skills have then led us into other really valuable skills in terms of technology that you could offer to companies. I'm doing a podcast. Who knew how to create a podcast? But it's something that I've learned how to do over time because of skills that I've picked up through teaching. Editing music tracks is something that I used to do within my job role. It's the same thing when you're editing a podcast. You're just still editing an audio track. So there's lots of different things that you probably do within a daily role within school that you then think, actually, yeah, so if I can, work social media, is that something that I could offer as a side hustle? Could I work with companies to create content for their social media? There's loads of different things. Honestly, there's so many different job roles out there that teachers are amazing at because of these skills that you've got, that you've picked up from the classroom. Think about simple skills in terms of technology. Do you create a PowerPoint every day for your lessons? Do you create slideshows of images? Do you put together things for a newsletter? All of those creative roles in terms of technology, they're all really valuable skills and highly sought after in the current climate of, online social media things. What about project management? That is something that you naturally do in a classroom. You manage the children that are in there. You manage the other adults that are in there. You set about creating a journey through some of the lessons that you're doing over time. Those projects that you're creating, ultimately your lesson plans for that half term, and you're seeing them through. Right, you're adapting them as you're going along. How do we get to the end of the project and hit our end goal? What do we need to do in order to get there? And sometimes that changes, doesn't it? So your lesson, say lesson 2 might not quite go to plan. So then lesson 3 needs to take a little bit of a detour. All of those things that you naturally know how to do, you might not realise, but are very transferable into other industries and other career roles. Just wanted to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence as well. As teachers, you are not only a teacher, but you're also a counsellor. You're a confidant for some of the children that you teach. You are the person that helps them emotionally to get through each day, to get through each week. You're a support for them. You are there when they need you, and you know what to do in order to help those children be the best person that they can possibly be growing up. In your job role, have you ever set up a workshop, which was maybe a whole day of focusing on one particular area of the curriculum? Have you worked with a couple of different classes that have all worked together on a project together? All of those things are brilliant in terms of your sort of delivery of content. It could lead to careers in public speaking. There aren't many people that can confidently stand in front of a group of other adults, children, and deliver a speech. As a teacher, I'd say probably most teachers could do that. Have you ever stood in assembly and delivered your assembly maybe either on your own or as a class group with your children? I used to do an assembly every week, which at the beginning of my career, I absolutely hated, because the pressure of delivering that assembly every week on your own was huge. But you get a few years down the line and actually it gets easier and easier. I could quite happily stand up in front of 500 children in the hall, deliver a singing assembly and not think anything of it. Those skills that we've trained to do as a teacher, some people working in corporate careers haven't got those skills because they've never been put in that position where they've had to learn. So we might not necessarily find it comfortable, but it's definitely something that you could do. Have you ever had to research something that you were supposed to be teaching that you didn't really know much about? Yep, me too. I used to teach year 7 science when I first started teaching. Well, I did a biology A-level, but I'm not really sure I knew very much about year 7 science. So each half term for our new topic, I had to research what we were going to learn. I had to know the knowledge in order for me to pass that on to the children that I was teaching. So those research skills and analytical skills, having to look through the content of what I needed to deliver to learn that myself, research skills like that are really valuable. A lot of teachers do have to research things that they're teaching because they don't know the content. Especially if you're new to teaching, these things take time in order to learn the knowledge and skills that you're passing on to the children that you are teaching. So how many is that? I've lost count of the amount of skills that we've just discussed, but let me just run through and recap we've talked about communication, organisation, team management and leadership, adaptability, technological skills that you can utilise based on, your experiences, public speaking, leading workshops, emotionally intelligent to support others, and research skills. That's a whole host of skills. I think that's probably 10 I've just counted, maybe more than that. All of those skills are valuable to other job roles. So although your confidence might be low at the moment, if you're thinking of getting out of teaching, actually, when you sit down and look at the skills that you've got and the skills that you could offer to other jobs, there are so many different skills that you are brilliant at. The difference is using your mindset to switch that round and realise that you are capable of delivering those skills into other job roles. So maybe what you need to be thinking of, instead of, I'm just a teacher, I can't do anything else. Actually, I'm not just a teacher. I can do this, I can do that, I can do the other. Make a list of all the things that you think you are really good at. And then if you're looking through job adverts, match yourself to the jobs that are asking for those skills. There's a certain pressure when you're looking for a new job to try and be the person in the job description. I could do that, But if you're really clear on the skills that you've got and the abilities that you can offer, it's probably much easier then to match that to a job description and say, yeah, I know I can do that and I know I can offer that. So a little bit of work on your mindset and a little bit of work on that confidence that you're possibly lacking. Go and realise how amazing you are and how many skills you've got to offer, because I think you'd probably be really surprised. Now, just a quick point, but have a think about how those skills could transfer into different job roles. So I did a little bit of research on different careers that require those skills that we've just talked about. So here was my list of jobs that you could consider if you're thinking of leaving teaching. Companies have training and development budgets. So they have people that will deliver their training and development to their employees. That could be a job role because essentially it's still teaching. You're just teaching a different level of content. Human resources, again, that communication skill is vital in human resources, isn't it? So that could be something that you could look into. If you still want to stay within education, there are companies who will pay you for creating content. So different companies that offer different curriculum plans and lesson plans and resources, they will pay you to create content for them. Marketing and communications is quite a big one now because there's a lot of talk online, isn't there, about digital marketing. So there are a lot of companies that want people who can use the technology and create marketing and communications strategies for their companies. Also, creating content. There are quite a lot of companies these days that will pay you to create marketing content for them. You could think about going into healthcare or counselling, something that some teachers feel is a really good sort of step progression for them, is to move into the counselling side of things if that's something they've naturally enjoyed doing within the classroom. Most teachers have amazing writing and publishing skills, copyright skills, proofreading, things like that teachers have developed over time, that ability to analyse grammar and to look at language. Those sorts of skills are really needed in a lot of different industries. The obvious choice for some people is to go to civil service jobs, public sector jobs. There are a lot of different civil service jobs that match quite closely to teaching. But that's not the only choice. There are lots of different jobs and careers and industries that teachers thrive in. I've been really surprised. I've been doing some networking over the last few months, and I've been really surprised at how many people have said to me, oh yeah, I used to be a teacher. So many. It's really strange, but at the same time brilliant, because it shows you that as teachers, there are so many different job routes out of the classroom. I think a lot of teachers, when they're in that classroom, feel like they're stuck. There's nowhere else for them to go. There's nothing that they can do as well as teaching, when actually teachers have so many more skills than you would realise. And honestly, you're amazing. You can set your mind to do anything you want to. Be confident and be positive, and who knows where you will be this time next year. So thanks for listening. I hope this has given you some ideas and some thoughts moving forward, if you're thinking of leaving the classroom, on the different things that you might be able to do as a career move moving forward. So if you are thinking of leaving the classroom, get in touch. I'd love to have a chat with you and tell you about my experiences and share what I've learned. But good luck with it. Keep in touch, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in to The Teacher's Compass. If you found this episode helpful, click on the link in the show notes for some more resources and support. Don't forget to leave a review on whichever app you choose to listen to us on. Your feedback helps us to reach more teachers just like you. See you next time.